The ashes of the Tower of Babel still smoldered in the valley of Shinar, though many generations had passed since the day it fell. The wind carried dust through its ruins like whispers of an old curse. But men, as ever, forgot. They rebuilt cities upon the bones of the old, and the name of Nimrud became legend, not as a warning, but as glory. Across the plains, his descendants ruled vast territories, kingdoms of wealth, soldiers, and idols. Gold gleamed on their altars, and smoke from their sacrifices darkened the sky. They called upon the stars, the sun, and the fire, believing each to be a god. The priests of Nimrud's temples wore robes of scarlet and gold, chanting hymns to flames that danced upon great stone platforms. It was in these days of confusion that the Lord chose to send a new light. The Kingdom of Or. South of Babel, beyond the river Euphrates, stood the city of Or of the Chaldees, a marvel of stone and mathematics. Its ziggurats pierced the heavens. Its temples glowed at night with eternal fire. The people of Or were masters of the stars, measuring time by their movement and claiming wisdom from their glow. At the center of this city stood a massive temple dedicated to the god of fire, presided over by the high priest Azar, a man learned in astronomy and ritual, respected by kings and feared by the common. He was a descendant of Sam, a man of noble blood, but his heart had long turned from the truth. And to this man a son was born. The night he came into the world, the heavens trembled. A new star appeared, brighter than any before, cutting across the sky with a trail of silver fire. The people of Or gasped. The astrologers hurried to Nimrud's court, trembling. "O king," they said, "a star of omen has appeared, a sign that a child is born tonight who will destroy your kingdom and shatter your gods." Nimrud's eyes burned like coals. "Then bring me every newborn of this night, and let the fire judge who dares challenge me." But the hand of God is swifter than the will of tyrants. The hidden birth. That night Azar's wife felt the pangs of labor. Fearing the king's decree, she fled from the city, guided only by moonlight. She found refuge in a cave beside a quiet stream. There, under the trembling stars, she gave birth to a boy unlike any other, calm, radiant, and silent. She looked upon him and whispered, "Ibrahim." She hid him in that cave, returning to feed him in secret while the soldiers scoured the city. The newborns of that night were slain, but the one chosen by God was protected. In the stillness of the cave, Ibrahim grew, nourished by the mercy of his Lord. It is said that a spring flowed for him, and that light shone within the darkness. When he was still a child, his mother, believing the danger had passed, brought him home, and though he grew among idolaters, his heart remained untouched by their delusion. The child who questioned. From an early age, Ibrahim was unlike other children. He would sit for hours beneath the sky, watching the stars, the moon, and the sun. When others bowed to fire, he asked, "Why do you worship what burns?" His father scolded him, "These are the gods of our ancestors, my son. Through them the king is blessed, and the people prosper." Ibrahim replied, "If they are gods, let them speak. If they are divine, let them defend themselves." Azar's face darkened. "You are young. The gods do not answer to boys." But Ibrahim could not silence the questions within him. Each night he looked to the heavens, seeking the truth that his heart already knew. The night of revelation. One evening he sat upon a hill as the sun sank behind the mountains. A star rose, bright and beautiful. The people nearby bowed in worship, whispering praises. Ibrahim gazed at it and said aloud, "This is my Lord." But when the dawn came and the star vanished, he shook his head, "I do not love those that set." Then the moon rose, vast, silver, serene. Its light filled the valleys. Again he said, "This is my Lord." But when the moon faded before the sun, he said, "If my Lord were this, it would not disappear. My Lord is greater than all that fades." Finally, the sun rose, mighty and blazing. The people cheered, throwing flowers into the river in worship. Ibrahim felt its warmth and said, "This is my Lord, this is greater." But as the sun sank at day's end, he stood alone in the twilight and declared, "O my people, I am free from what you associate with God. I turn my face to Him who created the heavens and the earth, pure in faith, and I am not of the idolaters." And in that moment the truth settled in his heart like the dawn itself. The breaking of the idols. Years passed, and Ibrahim grew into a young man of courage and eloquence. His people revered him for his intelligence, yet feared his words, for they struck like arrows of light. He went to his father and said, "O my father, why do you worship that which neither hears nor sees, nor can help you in any way? The truth has come to me. Follow me, and I will guide you to a straight path." Azar turned away in anger. "If you do not cease, I will stone you. Depart from me for a long while." But Ibrahim did not respond with hate. He said, "Peace be upon you. I will ask my Lord to forgive you." One day, when the city's people left for a festival, Ibrahim entered the temple. Rows of statues filled the hall, idols of gold, stone, and bronze. He looked upon them and whispered, "You eat not, you speak not, you cannot save yourselves." Then with the axe in his hand, he struck them down, shattering one after another until only the largest remained. Around its neck he hung the axe. When the priests returned, they were horrified. "Who has done this to our gods?" they cried. A voice answered, "It must be that young man, Ibrahim." They brought him before the king. The challenge of Nimrud. The court of Nimrud was filled with splendor and cruelty. He sat upon a golden throne, surrounded by idols and fire. His crown gleamed like the sun. He looked at Ibrahim and said, "Are you the one who destroyed our gods?" Ibrahim replied calmly, "No, it was the largest among them. Ask it if it can speak." The court erupted in laughter, but Nimrud's face hardened. "You mock us, boy. You know these idols cannot speak." Ibrahim said, "Then why do you worship what cannot defend itself?" The people murmured. Nimrud stood enraged. "Then tell me, who is your Lord?" Ibrahim replied, "My Lord is he who gives life and causes death." Nimrud smirked. "I too give life and cause death." He gestured to two prisoners. One he spared, the other he killed. "See, I do as your God does." Ibrahim looked at him steadily. "My Lord brings the sun from the east. Bring it from the west if you are powerful." The court fell silent. Nimrud's pride trembled beneath the weight of truth. Yet, instead of submission, he chose fury. "Then let your God save you from my fire." The fire of Nimrud. A pit was dug in the valley, vast as a lake. Wood and oil were gathered for days until the pile rose like a mountain. When it was set aflame, the heat was so great that no man could approach. They built a great catapult to hurl Ibrahim into the inferno. The skies darkened, the air roared with flame. But as Ibrahim was cast into the fire, he spoke with serenity. Hasbunallahu wa ni'm al-wakil. God is sufficient for me, and He is the best disposer of affairs. And the Almighty said, O fire, be coolness and peace upon Ibrahim. The flames bowed before that command. The people watched in terror as the blaze softened into light, its heat turned to fragrance. When the smoke cleared, Ibrahim stood unharmed, surrounded by green grass and blossoms within the pit of fire. The crowd fell silent. Some wept, others fled. Nimrod's face turned pale, and though his tongue spoke denial, his heart trembled with fear.
After that day, Ibrahim left his homeland, guided by God. He journeyed through the deserts of Syria and Palestine, carrying with him the message of truth. He called men to abandon idols and remember the covenant of Nuh and Adam. He built altars of remembrance wherever he went, teaching that the heavens and the earth were signs, not gods. In time, his name would echo through nations, and from his line would come the prophets of two great peoples, Ishaq and Ismail, peace be upon them. And from his legacy would rise once more the sacred house, the Kaaba, rebuilt upon the foundations first laid by Adam. Epilogue: the eternal fire and the living faith. Nimrod's kingdom crumbled. His idols turned to dust. He died not in glory, but in madness, tormented by a single gnat that entered his ear and consumed him from within. The fire that once defied heaven now served as a lesson carved in history. For every age the same truth returns. The world burns for arrogance, but faith walks unharmed through the flame.